So, what's going on? I don't know why I do this with my hands, but it feels like the right thing to do. So, this is going to be my podcast, I suppose. My podcast is going to be a podcast, and I'm going to speak on it. I might own it. I don't know. So I've recorded this before. This is my second time recording it, and the previous one was just not really great. And I don't expect this to be great, but the other one was bad. And it was very bad, and it was bad to the point that I was like, I don't really want to do this because I don't like making stuff and not being happy with it myself. So here we are, I'm recording it again, but that's okay. And this time I've thought to have notes, so if I do start going off on wild tangents and not making any sense, at least I can kind of come back to some pointers or whatever I suppose that I want to actually talk about. The last time I was just talking and I wasn't really making much sense. I could say some stuff, and when I said that thing, it would make me go So hopefully that doesn't happen as much today. Of course, it's still going to happen. I'm human. This is the first time I've really done this, but yeah, so I want to call this Coffee Talk because coffee's just sound, isn't it? Got a nice big one here, a few bits of ice, a few bits of coffee, some water, and a straw. Nice combo. So yeah, I want to just make it a thing. Just have a coffee, just talk, whatever's on my brain. Whatever I want to talk about, something that's interesting. Hopefully there might be something in here that might crack the code and make it be like, oh, but highly unlikely, but sure, we're here. So why have I got a podcast? I think that's a good place to start. I think it's just a good thing to have nowadays. I feel like a lot of people have podcasts. Obviously there's the likes of Joe Rogan, who's kind of the podcast guy. I think everyone in some way or form has heard of him or has maybe seen something and been like, oh, that's really interesting. Actually, my mate Dean, I'm sure he'll be on this at some point. He kind of turned me on to him, and I started listening to him a load. And I don't listen to him as much anymore, but still listen to podcasts all the time, like Chris D'Elia, Theo Von. Comedians' podcasts are just nice because it's just they know what they're talking about and it's funny as well. So it's a nice balance, but so disrespectful to drink while I'm talking, but here we are. So yeah, I suppose being inspired by people like that, seeing what they're doing, and it's just nice for me to have. If no one else likes it, that's fine really, but the fact that I can go back and I can look back and be like, oh, I said that thing once, it's just nice to have, I think. Another reason, I just want to have somewhere to talk. I think it's nice to be able to say okay, I'm going to do a podcast, I'm going to talk for however long I talk for, I'm going to talk about these things, get it off my mind, maybe make some sense out of some things, maybe someone can come across it and benefit from it in some way or form. I'm sure if I was younger than me and I was looking up at me and being like, oh my god, he's actually doing that, he's willingly putting himself there and kind of making fun of himself. I'm not making fun of myself, but it's kind of if I saw it when I was 14, I'd be like, oh, you can do that? If you get me? So maybe someone will see it and be like, oh, he's just a normal guy. I can do a podcast. I've always wanted to do one, That's a big thing. It's a lot of people want to do stuff and they don't do it because being influenced by the opinions of others, but that's natural. I think we all are, but it's just choosing to let them influence you completely or let them influence you a little bit. And ideally you get to the point where you're just David Goggins and you just say, fuck people. Not gonna curse, gonna try and keep it relatively respectful, so I don't have to go through it and go beep beep beep. So yeah, that's the first two reasons. Looking up at people like that, it's really nice to just have a podcast. Second reason, somewhere to talk. It means say, I don't know, Aaron wants to come on and talk. Me and Aaron just come in. We always have conversations anyways. It's why not just record it? Dean wants to jump on, Dean comes on. Anyone wants to come on, we just jump on and just talk shit. It's just, it's just ideal to have, I think, I love to get into videoing and stuff. I bought a camera, I take some photos, I take some videos. It's fun. It's nice to be able to make stuff and be like, here, look at this. So this is just another one of those things, really. I don't have much more to say on that, to be honest. It'd be sound for people to be able to just come on and just be able to talk about whatever, and if they have something going on and they can talk about it and maybe someone else will benefit from it. So it all kind of comes down to benefiting someone. ideally, you know. Maybe something I say in this at some point in time might make sense, and someone might be like, oh, I'm kind of, you know, I feel the same about that, and it's like, oh, I'm not the only one, you know. So if that happens, I can die happy. Yeah, so immediate future plans, I think that's a good place to start, because it's kind of like, you know, what's going on. Like, I've told you why I want to do this. Now it's like immediate future plans: stay alive. That's a good one. Don't really want to die yet. Want to keep going with photography, take some more photos, taking some more videos, because they're fun and they're just nice to have as well. Maybe get into the YouTube scene a bit more. So I'm going to be uploading these on YouTube. I might maybe put the sound on like SoundCloud or something, because like I know sometimes when I'm listening to podcasts, like I like to just have it in my ears. I don't want to be looking at it the whole time. Like, you don't have to look at me, you know. And I'm looking at my camera and the battery's flashing at me, which is making my heart race a little bit, because if this cuts out, because this has actually been decent so far, so touch wood, that doesn't happen. So yeah, I want to just keep doing what I'm doing, you know. It's fun. I want to put my foot in the sand and leave a footprint. 0 cents, bad analogy, but it is what it is. It's out there now. I'm committed. So yeah, I just want to be able to, you know, have this talking at the odd time, do some stuff. And you see, this is what happens now. I'm rambling a little bit, not too much, but I am. So, you know, it's a weird time, I think, at the moment as well. Like, trying to do all these things and be like, I want to do photos, I want to do videos, I want to do this and that. Like, obviously at the moment, because everyone knows, and I don't want to turn this into a news report. So, you know, COVID is a thing. Everyone's locked up, everyone's in quarantine. Nobody really knows how long it's going to last. No one really knows anything about it because it's so new. But I think it's important that you kind of educate yourself through good sources. And obviously I'm not going to be like, Joe Rogan's the best, but he has like 2 or 3 good podcasts now with good people. I'm not even going to attempt to remember the names, but they kind of put the virus into perspective rather than putting it into perspective through the media's eyes, because the media are always going to make it sound way worse or way better. So it's nice just to hear a scientist just talking about the virus itself. No repercussions, no this or no that, just what it is. Because I think it's important to understand, because I thought it was grand. I was like, oh, it's not that bad. It's only like this many people are infected. And then I watched one of those things and I was like, oh, I had a moment of being like, I'm so stupid. That happens quite a lot, but you know, it's okay to feel stupid, because who wants to feel smart all the time? That would be, well, just gonna do that every time I drink now, just to annoy me and annoy whoever's watching or listening. You can listen to, but yeah, so I think trying to stay motivated in quarantine. That sounds like that's a good YouTube title. But I don't know if it's really being motivated while being stuck inside. Like, some of us, like, I can't drive at the moment. I don't have my license, so like I literally am stuck inside. Like, you know, I can't just be like, right, I'm just gonna go for a drive up the road and go for a walk. Like, I can't do that. So being stuck inside, it's important that you balance. You need to stay, personally speaking, I need to stay active. I need to kind of stick to a schedule of some sort, and I need to hold myself accountable, because I think personally that in situations like this, motivation kind of goes out the window, and the only real thing that takes its place is discipline. Now, not saying I'm the most disciplined person on the planet, far from it, but at the same time, there's certain things that I like hold myself to. Like this, for example. I filmed this once, I filmed clips for it twice, and now I'm filming it a third time, and hopefully this time is decent. So yeah, I think it's just about kind of sticking to a routine and being disciplined and holding yourself accountable. I personally don't think, obviously, it's all thought, it's all hearsay. Anything I say in these videos and in this podcast is probably makes no sense, and there's 0 scientific evidence to back it up, but in my brain it makes sense, so I'm going to say it. Yeah, staying disciplined and being like, you know, I wanted to do this. Like, for example, I did 7 days, 7 photos. I've done it twice now, so I've actually done 14 days, 14 photos, but I did it like 2nd week into the official lockdown, and I was like, right, I'm gonna it and send it. So I decided that I had like 2 ideas. I had like 2 or 3 ideas going into the 7 days, and that's a bit, for me personally, that's kind of like, shit, like, what am I gonna do? I've got like to do 7 photos and I only have 2 ideas. But when you put yourself into the situation, and I hold myself accountable by saying it on my Instagram, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 7 days, 7 photos. I put up a thing so people interact with it or whatever, and it makes me be like, okay, now I have to do it because people are expecting it. And I don't like to not live up to expectations, and I don't like to kind of be like, oh, I'm the shit, and then not be the shit. So I decided that I went out, I took 2 photos. The first day was an idea that I already had. The second day was an idea that came to me the night before. And then that's what happens. When you focus on something like that and you hold it and you're like, I have to do this, your brain will work. I promise. Now for me, saying that now, it's like I want to do another 7 days, 7 photos, and I don't know if I would actually have the ideas. But it might be coming soon. It might be coming even tomorrow, because I think I'm going to just do it. I might make 7 awful photos, but it'll be 7 photos that I didn't have before. And if you're not winning, you're learning. It's a fact. So holding yourself accountable in quarantine beats being motivated in quarantine, I think, because you can look at motivational videos and you can feel like, oh, I'm gonna run for presidency. Illiterate. I'm gonna run for president, and for like 10 minutes after you watch that video. But at the same time, you need to inspire yourself, I think. Like, you need to motivate yourself, not inspire yourself. Well, you can do that too, but you need to be the person that makes you want to do stuff. Because if you're doing it because someone else is telling you to do it, you know, that definitely helps, like 100%. Like, if I hear David Goggins shouting at me through a video that he put up on Instagram, it does make me feel a little bit like a small person. It makes me kind of be like, okay, I can do this. He can do it. You know, like, it kind of does, definitely. But relying on that is dangerous, I think, because when that's not there and it's quiet time in your own brain, you need to be able to be like, okay, you're being an idiot, let's move. Now, again, I'm saying this all as if though I'm a qualified psychologist person. I'm not. I don't even really go to college, so it's not ideal, but here we are. I love coffee, man. Fact. But yeah, I suppose I can tell you what I'm doing in college. That's a decent thing to know. What I was doing with the whole quarantine thing. So I did an open learning course in UCD. Ensue laughter. Oh, but so it's basically like a pretend college course. So most people do like 6 modules per semester, 2 semesters, have exams, all that sort of stuff. The course I did 3 modules. I chose whatever 3 modules I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, so I enrolled. It's basically on a half year, so fees are cut in half. You're doing half the workload of an actual first year student, and it's ideal in that sense. Like, it is, you know, it's a nice kind of thing to do if you have no clue what you wanted to do, which was me. Like, I did my leaving cert and I was like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then kind of found out it was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, 10 months ago I didn't even own a camera, and like now that's what I'm like kind of putting a lot of time into. So, you know, things change a lot, and it's important to be able to adapt with those situations. It's a very, very important thing, adaptation. But yeah, so open learning, because it actually might be beneficial for someone that might watch this and be like, I don't know what to do next year, but I don't want to do nothing because I'm afraid of not going back to college, which is what I thought. So I decided to do this open learning. You basically just go onto UCD, you find it on there, you apply for it, you get rolled in, you pick whatever modules you want. So like the first semester I did sociology, social psychology, and business planning, and found out that I don't want to do any 3 of them. So there you go, tick tick tick, but I tried them, so I know now. Then the second semester, well, what I'm doing now, I'm doing film and aesthetics and arts or something. I'm doing information and social media, and food, diet and health too. And food, diet and health too, never do. Wrapping off the dome. Food, diet and health too, never do. Information and social media, it's just handy, but just not sound. And the film style one is actually decent, to be fair, but that's because I have an interest in film, and well, not really in film, but in like cameras and etc. You know what I'm trying to say. So you can choose whatever you want, you can do it. You can choose whether or not you want to do exams in them, so you can do them for credit or for audit, and that's also ideal too, really, because like you mightn't want to do exams after being off the back of the leaving cert, so it gives you a nice year to just dip your feet in the water and get a taste for college life. As someone would say to me, I can't believe I said it like that, but literally does kind of just make you be like, this is what you could do, except just a little bit more intense. But the only thing is, you're kind of jumping in and out of people's classes, so like this would be the downside, I would say. So it's like, I'm going to a sociology lecture with people that are kind of in like the same course, and I'm sitting in, and there's like 300 people there that I've never met before or like never seen, and it's like it's that side of it is kind of weird, because you're kind of like, it's like in secondary school when you have to sit in on someone else's class. It's that kind of a thing, except to a level where it's like, oh, there's a lot of people here. So that was one thing that I took from it that was like not overly ideal, but I didn't die, so you know, that's always sound. I met a few people, which is sound too. People are lovely, so you know, it's ideal. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing with myself currently this year, and obviously it's trying to take photos and trying to just make nice photos and nice videos for people to look at and be like, oh, cool. So yeah, that's kind of my immediate future and what I'm doing now. Kind of touched on being in quarantine, staying motivated. I don't really want to start talking about news and stuff yet, because I don't want to get like be that guy that's like, oh, doing this, doing that, and roasting people, because I'm not really like that. But I feel like that's a good thing to do on a podcast, because I think it kind of kills some time. But what else have I got? Yeah, touched on everything. So I've basically cracked the code in one video. No, I'm gonna keep going for another little bit. What time are we at? Only got 16 minutes. It's so much harder to do it when I actually stay structured. The last one I did for like 25 minutes. So yeah, but that's kind of a brief synopsis of the open learning course, which I didn't actually think I'd talk about, but there you go. And I know the Leaving Cert this year is going to be a bit funky. I know nothing about it, because again, I try to not look at news as much as I can, because I do believe that if there's anything important enough in the news, you will hear it at some point in time. I haven't looked at any coronavirus news at all, COVID-19 news, because I just feel like, you know, I'm stuck in my house for the foreseeable future. Me looking and being like, when am I going to get out? What's happening? Isn't going to make my brain feel any better at all. So that's another thing, actually. You have to look after your brain in times like this, because it is weird. It's not normal. Like, a lot of people are used to seeing their friends, their family, all that sort of stuff, like every week, every day. So you go from doing that to like cold turkey. It's not ideal for you at all, like for anyone. So making sure that you kind of keep in touch with your friends, your family, you know, look after yourself as well. This is a great time to be able to incorporate some self-care. Didn't say that like I was making fun of it, just felt like the right thing to say. So yeah, like sports just is the big one, isn't it? Like, you just do have to be doing some sort of activity when you're in quarantine. Like, personally, I can still train at my gym, luckily, because it's like a rugby club kind of a gym. It's not like a commercial gym. So in that sense, I'm very lucky that I still have access to be able to train. Also, running, I think, is a great one. I would put running above the gym in terms of like cognitive benefits, let's say. And that's just personally. I'm sure some people get great benefits from the gym, but like, everyone has off days. Saying you're having an off day, you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you're just not in a good mood, your head's racing, you can't think, mind's going everywhere, you're not having sound thoughts, all this sort of stuff starts bouncing. A great thing to do is go and do some really hard exercise and like make your body hate you. And that's weird and it's hard to do, and I think that's why it's beneficial, because, you know, like say there last week I was having a day where I was like, oh, just not a sound day, and I was like, I don't want to do anything with myself today. I've done nothing, I've achieved nothing, I'm being so lazy, I'm procrastinating, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm being a waste of space, I'm being a piece of shit. And then I decided I'm gonna go for a run, and I just didn't want to do it at all, but I was like, I'm not even giving myself the option, I'm going for a run. So put on my runners and I started running. Now, it wasn't very motivational or dramatic, and I just started running like everyone runs, but what I discovered when I was on the run, and I at the time wanted to record it on my phone because I thought it was so like there, was, you know, people are like, oh, I go for a run and I don't feel any better after it. Like, a lot of people say that. Or I do exercise and it just doesn't make a difference. A lot of people say that, and some people feel worse after doing exercise because they start to feel bad about themselves or anything like that. That can happen. Happens to me sometimes. I'm not saying that I'm like this fucking golden boy, but just like, it does happen to everyone. It's not ideal, but it does. So I was out running, and I think to get the benefits, you have to push yourself. You have to go balls to the wall, realistically. Like, I could go for a 5k at 50% of my total capacity. So I could be running, I could be kind of tired, I could get back, I might have broken a sweat, and I'll be like, okay, at least I ran. Or you can go for a 5k and bring yourself to the point where you just want to crawl on the ground and have a little cry for the boys. Now, that is going to make, now that is going to make such a difference to you. Fact. Because when you get into that place and you're in that flow and you're moving, you're so tired, your brain starts to only focus on the one thing that you're doing, and that's running. So all those other thoughts, the mean thoughts or the ridiculous, irrational thoughts, they start to quieten down, they start to come down here. And then eventually they just leak out the back of your head. And your brain is like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I'm so sore, I can't do this. And you just have to be like, yeah, you can, because we're not dead yet. And you keep going and going and going. And then you get to that place where it's like a form of meditation. I feel like your brain just goes like this. And you feel great. Fact. So that's all we have for today. No, jokes. So funny. Go Dylan. But yeah, running and pushing yourself super hard at whatever you do is going to give you so much benefit mentally. Now, I don't know all the science behind it. I'm pretty sure it does. Obviously, exercise releases endorphins, but the harder you work, the more endorphins that are released. And to put it into baby language, which is like my language, it tires out your brain. Your running tires out your body, and if you run hard enough, it'll also tire out your brain. But you have to run hard. There's no other way about it. You have to exercise hard. You have to be to the point where you're broke up. And that's when you get that wave of like serenity, is a good way to say it. It's kind of like what you get when you meditate. I don't know, is anyone watching this meditate? I'm sure someone meditates. I know if the boys are watching it, they meditate a bit. So meditating is great for you. And I don't do it very often. I'm not very good at it. I don't claim to be good at it, but I want to get better at it. And I think that's the important part. So yeah, I'll talk about meditating another time, because I'll just end up going off on a random one. But I think exercising is so important at this time, just to look after your brain and look after your body as well. It's sound to be in good shape. Like, you know, if you ever have to run away from a pack of wolves, you know, we're not designed to just sit around all day. We just aren't. And it's nice, 100%, but you know what's even better is when it's earned. So you get out, you do your exercise, you feel good about yourself, then you sit down, you watch a movie, you eat some food. Eat food. Don't not eat food, actually. Dylan Tarmy goes to jail for telling people to not eat and starve themselves. Don't do that. But yeah, it's much nicer when it's earned. 100%. Everything is. I was reading a book as I put on my glasses and scratch my head, become instantly smarter. Oh, my chest is getting ready to explode. That's nice coffee. But I was reading a book the other day by Jordan B. Peterson. Now, I've been reading this book for about over a year and I still haven't finished it, which is a little bit embarrassing, but I'm reading it now and I'm making an effort. I'm going to finish it by the end of the month, holding myself accountable to the fact. But he was saying in it that, like, what is it? A bit embarrassing now, I can't remember the quote. It's something along the lines of satisfaction. Withholding satisfaction from yourself will make you a better person, along the lines. So basically what he was saying was, like, immediate gratification isn't always good. You know, like, everyone wants to get that good feeling instantly. You know, you want to go out, you want to feel great after running for a kilometer, or you want to eat that bad, not eat that bad food. You want to eat a nice big juicy Big Mac and feel good while you're eating it, and there's a bit of a party going on in your mouth, but after you don't feel so good. So what he was kind of getting at is, you know, withholding that satisfaction from yourself and withholding that instant gratification will make you a better person down the line. And it 100% makes sense. It's like, you know, there's no harm. Going out is great. It is ideal, you know. So going out is sound, but like, say you've got something that you need to do. You've got a big massive college assignment, or you've got some work that you need to do for somebody or something along the lines, and everyone's going out. If you kind of hold yourself and you're like, look, I can't go out tonight, but I'll go out next weekend, you will enjoy going out next weekend so much more than you will enjoy going out on that exact night. It's just holding, sometimes not giving yourself that instant reward. Discipline comes down to discipline, I think. And when you're a disciplined person, you're going to be a great person. Fact. David Goggins, nice guy. Joe Rogan, anyone that's disciplined is just the shit. I can't think of anyone else now because I'm on the spot, but loads of people. Christian Guzman, what a dude. What a crazy dude, actually. He's opening up an entire hotel and 2 extra gyms on top of his current one and moving everything in there, which is insane. And he's like, he like starts his day at 3 a.m. and goes to bed at like 11 or 12. I'd be dead. I wouldn't be. I'm a bitch, but fact. Jocko Willink, another great guy to look at if you're looking for some motivation and make you feel bad about yourself, because I don't think there's no harm in feeling bad about yourself sometimes when you know it's going to be productive. So if it means that you look at it and you're like, oh, I'm an idiot, and then you do something about the fact, well then you're winning. But if you look at it and you're like, oh, I'm an idiot, and you don't do anything, well then it's like, don't be mean to yourself for no reason. Constructive criticism. It's the same. You don't want to be mean to other people. If you're mean to other people for no reason, you're the worst person ever. Fact. If you're just mean to people, it's just nicer not to be mean to people. It's nice to be nice to people. And I feel like a lot of the time, if you're mean to people, it's just like no one really benefits. Like, you just don't feel good in your belly about it. You're like, why did I do that? Or I've done it now. It's like, there's this like, you look great today, Kyle. And Kyle's just like, thanks, man. Happy days. You know? Great analogy. Fantastic. What time are we at? 4 hours. Oh my God, I've been stuck in a time loop. No, we're at 27 minutes. Hilarious joke. It's very weird talking to a camera and like making bad jokes, because normally someone will sympathy laugh, but I'm just making bad jokes to a camera, and then I look at the camera and I'm like, and then in my body goes like this. But this was much more successful than the other one. The other one was a disaster. And I'm looking forward to doing this more. The next one could be me and Shuki. We might be having a bit of a conversation over Skype because we can't see each other at the moment, because too much kissing the boys and, you know, spreading the virus, it's not ideal. So we're going to probably talk over that. Imagine young Carter will be on at some point. I'll have everyone on, man. If you want to be on it, ring me. Don't ring me because I do have a number, but you can actually just DM me and just be like, hey, I want to talk about something on Coffee Talk, the worst rated podcast on iTunes, and I'll be like, sure thing. Once you don't want to like promote cults or anything like that, I'm for it. Just once you're, you know, nice. It's just ideal, isn't it? It's a nice place to be able to come and chat some shit about some shit. So yeah, I'll probably like put in maybe a clip or something at the end of this to kind of break the awkwardness. And like the first time I recorded this, like the camera was so close to my face, it was ridiculous. I was literally like felt intimidated watching it back, and I was like, no one's gonna want to see that. So you're a little bit farther away from me now. It's like if I tried to give you a quick hug, you'd be too far away from me to, you know. So that's probably a good thing for you and for me. So I'm going to throw this in, I'm going to edit it, and yeah, so if there's anything that you would like to see me talk about, don't tell me because I won't talk about it. But if there's anything you'd like to see me do, if you want to see, maybe I was thinking about maybe doing some videos where I kind of show you my editing process of pictures or whatever, or kind of what goes through my head when I'm looking at them or doing them. Even with a video, if you wanted me to kind of break down like a video on what I did. Not that if you wanted me to, but you know, it might just be nice to see. Ideally, we'll have some vlogs coming with the boys soon, once we're all allowed to be back in each other's company. That'd be kind of fun, kind of interesting. Again, it's just nice to look at a camera and feel bad about yourself and be like, I'm talking to a camera. You know, it's nice to do stuff that makes you feel a bit weird about yourself every once in a while, because I do think that's character building. Like one time I was in TY, I think, and there was a whole thing going on, and basically just cut off because maximum recording time is reached. So I'll make this quick and then we'll finish it up. So half the class was on the stage, the other half the class was in the audience. Now it was this thing for young people, can't remember the name of it, very impactful moment in my life. Thankfully I took it well, I suppose. Basically we were all in the audience and there was like loads of other schools, like all the schools around Ireland basically were at this thing. And there was someone on the stage who was reading out a thing about mental health, and everyone in the crowd was meant to stand up, and we were all meant to say like mental illness can affect anyone. So I was ready, I was like chilling. I looked over and as I stood up I saw one of the lads, Eric, he stood up, and as I stood up he sat back down, and at this point I was fully standing up. So you know, I'm all about committing, so I didn't want to sit back down, because what happened was the person speaking made that awkward eye contact to me and they stopped. So I stood up in front of everyone and I said mental illness can affect anyone, and I sat back down and there was a moment like and then everyone started laughing and I laughed too, so it was okay. But that was a nice character building thing for me, because it was like, if I would been told you have to stand up and say this in front of everyone, I'd be like, no way am I doing that. But because I accidentally did it, the worst thing that could have happened probably didn't happen, you know? It's like everyone laughed at me and I felt like kind of like, ugh. So, you know, it could have been much worse. I could have stood up and got sick on someone, or stood up and my head fallen off. So, you know, kind of putting yourself into a situation where you're not very comfortable and you're a little bit embarrassed is really good for you, I think, because it makes you be like, oh, nothing happens, you know? You get embarrassed, nothing really happens from it unless it's detrimental and like it's haunts you. But at that point, then you need to get some help. But yeah, being embarrassed is good. Being embarrassed will make you not be as embarrassed in the next time. So yeah, that was the story I wanted to tell. Told it really bad, wasn't funny, it was funny at the time. It's okay, I don't have PTSD over it, so we're all good, we're winning in that sense. So yeah, we just did 30 minutes, baby, whoa. So yeah, we're done, we're gonna cut it here. I'm gonna say something. I need to come up with a catchphrase. Always never chilling, and then I'll pick up my phone and throw it at the camera. And what I realised was this story might sound terrible because I was meant to be recording on my phone and I moved it, but it's all good. Hopefully it came out okay. So super, hope you're having a nice day, hope you're still alive, hope you're always never chilling. That's all I really have to say. I'm sure you'll see me again at some point, ideally, unless I pass away in the near future, touch wood. So yeah, word, I'm gonna pick up throw it at the camera. Oh.